Now, dozens of first-time voters at the Iowa's West Wuogon constituency have lined up in long winding queues in order to get their details captured in the country's electoral roll. Since the exercise started on Thursday, there's been poor turnout across the country with some reports of malfunctioning biometric machines. The situation is, however, different at the University of Ghana Registration Center, from where Kwacha Afrenioma reports.
Across the country, what we've seen is and heard reported, in fact, is low turnout at various centers as the limited registration exercise by the Electoral Commission continues. But here on the University of Ghana campus, the reverse is true. In fact, the campus has only one center located here at the Legon Hall, just one center for the thousands of students who are first-time voters who want their names captured on the country's electoral roll. As you can see right here, a number of students who are lined up trying to get their details captured, going through the processes as officials of the Electoral Commission register them, and there are a number of them here. Many of them say they have lectures, but they still have to be in these long queues. The question is, will some of these people be left at the end of the 5 days without being able to register? Let me speak to a few of them and find out how cumbersome the process has been for them, how long they have been waiting, and whether they are hopeful they can make it through the process. Hello, welcome to Joy News. You were telling me about how frustrated you are about this process.
Yeah, we all are. I was here yesterday myself, spent a couple of hours here, came to no avail. I had to postpone my travel plans because I really want to get registered this year. So I postponed my travel plans to today. Been here since all morning.
You had to travel?
Yeah, I had a flight. I have to travel outside for a couple of weeks, but by the time I get back, the 10 days would have elapsed. So I definitely really wanted to get registered. Yesterday didn't work. Been here all morning, still the same. I don't know why they put just one center on Legon campus.
And your name is?
Deborah.
Deborah. How long have you been waiting here?
And I came with this. So.
You came with?
Yes.
You came with her?
Yeah.
And you've been waiting here for an hour as well. But tell me, you have lectures today? I can see you holding your bag.
Yeah, I do.
What time is your lecture?
11:30.
11:30. That's just some 2 hours from now.
Yeah.
And what happens? You're thinking about the possibility?
Yeah, but I'm willing to stay because I have to do it.
Pardon?
I'm willing to stay because I have to do it.
Okay, so you in this case you'd have to forfeit your lectures simply to get registered.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. I mean, how can you be sitting down for 2 hours? You can do something else.
And are you concerned? I've been speaking to some people that feel that for a big campus like this, you should have more than one registration center. In fact, the fact that you have just one registration center is a main reason why all this is happening. What do you think of that?
I think it should be like 3. The Southern Kingdom, Central Campus, and Northern Kingdom. 1 is not enough. It's just not enough.
And what would that change?
I don't know. We are here. 1 is, if you have 3, then you can have 1 for the Northern Kingdom, Central Campus, and Southern Kingdom. That way you won't waste time to be fast. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we won't be able to register.
And you have lectures as well today?
No, it's my free day, but I have other things to do.
You have other things to do. Let me find out from these other ladies how long they've been waiting and how frustrating the process is for them. Hi, welcome to Joy News. I'm wondering how long you've been waiting here. Your name first?
Audrey.
Audrey, you are whiling away time. This is a double queue, I must say. How long have you been waiting?
For like 3 hours. We came here around 6.
Pardon?
Marimi and I came here around 6.
Around 6 a.m. and it's what? It's around almost 10.
Yep,
9:46. And that means you've been waiting for some time now. You don't have lectures today?
I have lectures. We have tutorials, IT tutorials, but then we are not going because of this.
So you suddenly have to miss your lecture because of this situation?
Yeah, there's only registration center on campus, so we have no other choice but to wait.
I get a sense, speaking to many of your other colleagues, that they are simply frustrated. Yeah. How is it for you?
It's hell.
Hell?
Yeah, I'm tired and frustrated, but then I can't leave because what if I go in and they give them numbers? You come tomorrow, you have to start all over again, so I have to wait.
When I came yesterday, it was raining, so I just had to go back. So.
And you don't have lectures at all today?
I do.
You have lectures. At what time?
11:30.
11:30. What's the time now? it's getting to 10, right? That means you could possibly miss your lecture. How worried are you about that?
Well, I am, because looks like there are lots of people here, but I still have to do it, so I might miss it. Or if the line doesn't move, then I'll have to go for my lecture.
Wow. And tell me how frustrating this is.
I feel like there should be more centers to register these things because we are a lot and it's just one, so it's very, very frustrating.
Let me speak to the EC official, one of the EC officials here. Say your name and...
Isaka. I'm Isaka Ali.
Isakani.
Ali.
Ali. Mr. Ali Isaka is one of the members of the EC team here on the ground at the University of Ghana Registration Center. In fact, the only center here at the University of Ghana. Tell me, sir, how's the process been so far? You started yesterday.
Well, so far is going smoothly. At the moment, yesterday we've registered 61, but the only thing, the problem that we are facing here is the registration officers are writing slowly. That's the problem. But other than that, we can register more than 1,000 a day, or probably 200 a day.
So the problem is the registration officers registering slowly, or the fact that we simply have just one center.
Oh, okay. Is the only thing is we have only one center here because it's 10 days, five days here, and we'll move to another center for 5 days. That's the problem here.
And Legon has only one center. I'm wondering why.
Yeah, that's why it's limited. It's limited registration, because after we finish for 5 days, then we'll move to another center for 5 days.
But that center will certainly be outside the Legon campus. I'm wondering why your outfit did not consider having, say, more than one center here. In view of the numbers, the sheer number of students who may want to come to register, get their details captured.
Yeah, that's why it's limited, because even though we have more than 1,000 students here to register, yeah, but because it's limited, so we have to run fast to capture everybody here and to register everybody here.
And so there's a genuine fear from some of the students. They feel that this process could end the 5 days you'll be on campus, and they may not have the opportunity to have their details captured.
Oh, well, we'll make sure that we register everybody before 5 days. Before 5 days, we'll make sure that we register everybody.
How feasible is that? The queue is not moving.
Yeah.
Time is moving. What time do you close?
6.
You close at 6. The queue is not moving. More people come. How do you get
because we have been here from 5 a.m. We'll put everything in order. By 7 a.m. we'll register. We'll start registering from 7 a.m. Close 6 p.m. Close 6 p.m. And moreover, if people are in the queue, we'll make sure that those people are in the queue will register before, or let's say after 7, we can still register them.
Let me find.
And that was my colleague Kwachi Afrenium reporting from the University of Ghana, where quite a number of students there, and they are unable to register because of the slow pace of the process. And I mean, they've been in long winding queues from as early as 6 a.m. and they're still waiting to get their details captured. They'll be bringing you the full report on our news and news analysis program, The Pulse, which airs at 3 p.m. on the same channel. But let's still stay with issues of elections. And a US-based advocacy group has filed a suit at the High Court, praying the court to cause the Electoral Commission to immediately implement the Representation of the People's Amendment Act RUPA, that's Act 699. Applicants of the suit at the Human Rights Division of the Accra High Court says the right of prisoners to vote in Ghana was restored in 2010 to be in line with the same article, that's Article 42, hence the need to implement RUPA 2. RUPA permits Ghanaians living abroad to register and to vote in elections held in the country. Let's now speak to Chief Executive Officer of the Progressive Alliance Movement, and that's the group that has filed this suit. I'm speaking of Kofi Kwanting, who's going to be telling us more about this very suit. So, Kofi, what exactly are the...
How you doing?
Very well, thank you. But what exactly are your reasons for suing the Electoral Commission as far as the Representation of People's Amendment Act is concerned?
Well, we want to be able to vote. As I'm sure you've rightly said and read, we are citizens of Ghana, and you cannot discriminate as to, by virtue of position, who a citizen is or is not. If you are born in Ghana, 18 years of age, and you have sound mind, you are a citizen of Ghana. That's what the Constitution states. So we have a difficulty understanding and accepting why the Electoral Commission will, with their way of judgment, which we yet to understand, eliminate us from the process of voting to move the country forward. We want to vote, and we want to vote now. This law was suspended in 2006. It's been over 10 years. We have seen the 2008 elections come and gone. We have seen 2012 elections come and gone. And if you would ask me, the Electoral Commission has had more than enough time to come out with any excuse they could possibly come out with. And we just think it's time. We're sick and tired of waiting, and we think it's about time that they implement it and we move on. And that's our position. We've written letters to the Electoral Commission. They have not responded. I have followed up, and the organization have sent me to come down to visit with them, and they have said they were going to write back to us. We haven't had anything back from Aferi John and to Charlotte Osei. In all fairness, we have done all of that, and we haven't gotten any response. So I think we have done everything reasonable to have had some type of response from them, which we haven't had. So we're left with no other option to go ahead with a court action. But
clearly, the Electoral Commission has mentioned that they are looking at getting this very thing go through. I mean, they're saying that in 2017, for instance, they're going to start the whole process to ensure that people in the diaspora are able to vote. Why don't you just give them that time? I mean, if you've been able to wait for 10 years, why not 1 more year?
That's exactly the point. The waiting of 10 years should be enough not to give any more time, because if they had any good reason to implement it, I think they would have done it by now. So now, who's to say that this is not just an opportunity to pass down the ball for the next time? It has to get started now, and we're not gonna sit and wait. And now, if you read the report carefully on page 40 of that same strategic plan you're referring to, it says that the Electoral Commission, after 10 years, does not have any specific plan to implement ROPA right away till next year, going into 2020. So when is this work to implement ROPA going to start? Any considerable person has every reason to doubt that they have any reason to start. And plus, they haven't given any reason for us to sit and say, you know what, maybe they have done something for us to sit and wait for it to be ultimately implemented. So we want to see some action now. We want to see the rubber hitting the road, meaning the road. We want to see something legitimate done now to give us some type of assurance that this thing is not just talk, which it has been, or at least it seems like it's been for the last couple of years, maybe over a decade now. So that's our position.
Okay, so let me ask, I mean, in all fairness, do you think between now and November, the Electoral Commission will be able to put in the necessary infrastructure and the necessary logistics to ensure that you're able to cast your ballots? I'm speaking of those of you in the diaspora. I mean, between now and November, isn't that too short a time?
Okay, who said it was too short? First of all, what is your basis for anticipating or assuming it's too short? Let me just tell you this. What we are asking the Electoral Commission to do is not reinventing the wheel. Many countries who are nowhere close to the democratic status that Ghana has already has that implemented. South Sudan, Mali, Burkina. Are you kidding me? So why is there a problem, or why does anybody think that there is a problem implementing?
Already there are issues with finances. I mean, even for the local elections, the ones you are even to have here, the budget has been cut by almost a quarter.
Well,
so really,
if you talk about finances, let me stop you right there and saying that in 2014, September 2014, when President Mahama was in Worcester in the U.S., we asked him point blank, and he said, finance, they will find the money for this. So who is to say, after the president of the nation has said on record, and if you could go back to your records and check, that financing will not be a problem. And plus, let me draw your attention to this and to all your listeners. first of all, before a bill passes to be law, it goes through deliberation, stringent deliberation and distilling process at the Parliament. Now, one of the major things that's considered at that point is finance. If this thing did not have a way of being passed financially, it wouldn't have become law. So the deliberations as to cost and all the other logistics were considered back then, and it was back then the decision was made that it will pass and it will be implemented before it became law. If you're saying that it's not true, then you tell me our parliamentarians don't know what they're doing, which we all know our parliamentarians know what they're doing. So if they pass it to be law, we're not going back to deliberate this issue, that it's a cost, it's a matter of cost. That's why it's not been implemented. No. And plus, the Electoral Commission has not even come out with a specific plan as to the justification of this being cost. If you tell me it's cost, how much is cost? Nobody knows. Why should we be in the dark? Enough is enough. Implement ROPA for 2016. That's our point.
Right.
That's our stand.
Mr. Kranting, many thanks for your time on News Today.
Thank you.
That was Kofi Kranting, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Progressive Alliance Movement, and it's a pressure group in the United States. They're based in the United States, and they filed a suit. They are dragging the EC to court just to push them to implement the Representation of People's Amendment Act. They are saying people in the diaspora, Ghanaians in the diaspora, want to vote in this year's election. We'll see how this very issue plays out. But we're now just hours away to the ballot box live show from the Klotikole constituency. The former seat of government will host the groundbreaking show next after hugely successful shows in the Central and Ashanti regions. Head of our political desk, Evans Mensah, who is also host of the live event, has been telling me more.
On Tuesday, we sent out ballot boxes into the constituency, and this is a huge constituency. Salem Down, Adabraka, Osu, all those areas, and part of Circle is part of the constituency. So we sent out ballot boxes, positioned two of them at fixed locations, one at the Oxford Street Mall. We had one also at the Champion Restaurant right in front of it. We had one, a mobile one at Trust Towers, and then moved to GIJ and moved into other communities. We've also sent for the very first time, we decided, if you look at Kolikote, they have a fishing community along the coast. I mean, those areas, if you go and put a ballot box and ask them to write down their issues and put them in, and you can bet that most people would not be able to read and write. And so what we did was to send a team into the constituency to speak to people. We are a broadcasting house, so let's record it visually and through audio means as well. We've done that, so we understand fairly what the issues are. So that is what is going to inform tonight's discussion. So tonight at 5:30 p.m. sharp, the show will start. But I mean, we are receiving our guests from 5 p.m. We will open the ballot boxes. It's been sorted last night. We know what the issues, the clusters are, and the candidates will be there to interact, take questions and answer some of the key issues that we've identified. And we are inviting every single person who participated, hundreds of them, to also be present so that they can put their issues beyond the fact that they've written them down and it's in the ballot box, directly voice them and interact with the candidates. And so it's going to be interesting. And the venue is the Oxford Street Mall. People know ShopRite. ShopRite is within the mall. It's above the ShopRite, the terrace overlooking the Oxford Street itself. And we're very grateful to the Brawl, managers of the facility there, for allowing us to do this. And in fact, one of the things they're doing now is interesting. They know that politics can be a bit tense. So they said, okay, after the show, they'll lay out a live band so that the candidates can interact. They can unwind after the heated conversation with the constituents and interact with them. So it's going to be fun, but it's also going to be a lot of interrogation, questioning, and trying to dig out who is most qualified to represent the people.
Okay. You're watching News Today here on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. We're taking a break. We'll return shortly with a lot more stories. Don't go away. Many thanks for staying with us here on News Today. Now, brace up to pay up to 10% more for fuel and other petroleum products from next week. Now, players in the petroleum industry say this increase is one in a series of hikes to expect, as the price of crude oil has begun to rise on the world markets. The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers says the trend cannot be stopped and that Ghanaians will have to adjust their budgets for the impending hikes. Duncan Amwa is the president of the chamber.
Fortunately, the world market index seems to be rebounding and rather sharply. If you recall, some few weeks ago, we were doing around $38, $39 a barrel, but as we talk today, we're talking of some $47, almost $48 a barrel real-time WTI. So clearly, that might be the immediate necessitating factor culminating in this impending hike from our figures collected at the various loading runs. So technically, yes, prices are going up. I'm sure most of the OMCs or BDCs would have adjusted long ago, but you know, NPA has a regulation that says within a pricing window, you cannot adjust upward until the next pricing window. Next pricing window begins the 1st of May, and that is where Ghanaians are likely to slap with this pending increases, and unfortunately is significant.
Now, Duncan, can we describe the current situation as a rebound yet? Because for some time now, the prices have not been stable. It goes up marginally and then it comes down. Do you think that this justifies the increase in price of fuel?
Yes. If you are looking at current figures of almost 48, getting to $50 a barrel, one could say that something seems to be working to the advantage of oil producing and exporting countries and the other economies that depend largely on petroleum exports. But the situation locally for us in Ghana, I think, is one that needs a thorough, discussion about. If you recall, when government decided January 3rd to slap on petroleum products some 27% taxes, you would agree that government had one key excuse, which was to the effect that government was losing revenue from our petroleum exports from the Jubilee field. So it needed to tax the local market to be able to raise enough revenue for developmental programs. But here you are today, we are almost hitting the $50 mark as was projected by Finance Ministry in their budget, and it's only April ended. One would argue, would it not be fair for government to have to sit immediately to start reviewing the amount of taxes or levels of taxes that is slapped on petroleum? As we speak currently, most of the industry players complain of a particular tax, which is a VAT component on petroleum, the 17.5 special petroleum tax. Because it's a variant tax, now if you are buying for $30 a barrel and you have to pay 17.5, I guess you would agree that the values will be much smaller or much safer for any petroleum service provider as compared to if you are buying it at $47 or almost $50 a barrel.
The Food and Drugs Authority has intercepted a truckload of about 3,000 bags of weevil-infested rice ready for sale to the public. The rice was seized in Mankesim in the central region. Well, we're actually able to speak to the regional director of the FDA, Kwame Nsiapoku, to tell us a lot more about this very situation, but unfortunately we are unable to reach him now. Once we're able to do that, we'll bring that very story to you in subsequent bulletins. Now, more support continues to pour in for 6-year-old Jemima Korte, who is currently 70% straightened after battling with spinal defect for 5 years, rendering her hunchbacked. Jemima Korte's plight came to light last year following a Joy News encounter with her family. Thanks to the support of benevolent individuals, Jemima has successfully undergone her first surgery. Latest to throw in support is Jemima's schoolmates. The Jack and Jill School in Accra made a donation of 11,000 cedis to support her undergo the total treatment.
From a scoliosis curve of 127 degrees to 50 degrees of surgery, That is the miraculous story of 6-year-old Jemima Korte, who is currently 70% straightened after battling with a spinal defect for 5 years, rendering her hunchback. Jemima's success story was made possible through your benevolence. Join News with your support raised an amount of 41,000 out of a total cost of 94,000 for her surgery. The latest to show support to little Jemima are her schoolmates, teachers and parents of the Jack and Jill School in Accra.
Decided to get involved because she's one of our students, and we all know the anxiety that parents have when their wards are sick. So she's our own child. Parents, students, staff members, and Stanbic Bank and the school.
The medical director of Focus Orthopedic Hospital, Professor Oheniba Boachiji, says Jemima still needs 50,000 more to complete her treatment.
So we're talking about maybe 6 or 8 operations. You know, for now it's called in Ghana cedis, and with the contribution that we got from Joy, and now today we'll probably have about a balance of about 20,000 cedis to go to finish the first 2 operations, and then there'll be more coming in. So we're still at a deficit, but we're not going to stop taking care of her.
There are many more children in critical conditions who are currently on the waiting list but do not have any form of financial assistance. The hospital is therefore appealing for more support to give back the life of these innocent ones to them in the shortest possible time.
Well, time now for some business here on News Today. And now time for some business. And the first edition of the Startup Dialogue, organized by the African Network for Entrepreneurs in partnership with Joy Business, got off a great start last night. Several startups gathered to think of ways of being innovative and being globally competitive. Some panelists at the event shared some perspectives.
Globally competitive and innovative startups are 2 words that don't necessarily have to fit together. So this is something that we talked a bit about this evening, is that innovation doesn't have to be, a startup doesn't have to necessarily be innovative to be globally competitive. So there's a lot of startups that are, tweaking ideas and bringing ideas that are maybe working elsewhere, and they're tweaking those ideas to fit this market. And that in and of itself is can be very successful. In terms of globally competitive, I think that's something that is really dependent on the idea. So there's not, a written formula of what constitutes a startup to be globally competitive or innovative, but it's really about the idea, how that idea is interpreted and translated and then implemented.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely the first thing that comes to mind for me for globally competitive, for me, is customers and being able to generate revenue, right? Because as you're able to get a lot of customers and revenue, you're able to grow your business, because you can even have a business in Accra, but even growing it out, around Ghana, can help you increase, your footprint and your revenue, right? So I think once you're able to show clearly that you can get customers and grow your customer base, that makes you more globally competitive. The second key thing for me is quality, right? If your products are really good, then they can be competitive anywhere, right? So you can, put this Ghanaian product or this Ghanaian business next to another business, and you know that they can do very well, or they can be similar in quality.
Now, from entrepreneurship, let's do some banking stories. And Fidelity Bank has declared a profit after tax of over 145 million Ghana cedis. That is quite remarkable considering the economic crisis the country experienced last year, as well as the high rate of banks non-performing loans. The bank has therefore declared a dividend per share of 1 cedi 27 pesos. The announcement was made by Managing Director Edward Efa at the bank's annual general meeting held in Accra on Thursday.
For 2015, your board recommends a dividend of 1.27 cedis per share. This dividend of 1.27 cedis per share is a 53% increase on the 2014 dividend of 0.83 pesos per share. And in dollar terms, it is still a 41% increase in dollar terms of the dividend per share, which we propose to pay. Year in, year out, the policy of the bank has been to pay out as much as it possibly can in terms of dividend to shareholders. So after these transfers, which is required by the banking law, we're left with 51 million in the income surplus account. Then we bring forward the opening balance of the income surplus account, we get to 59. We pay preference dividends, and then we're left with an ordinary dividend pool of 38 million, out of which we typically have paid more than 75%, but this year we're paying more than 90%, because out of the 37 million in the pool, we're paying 32 million as a proposed dividend.
Meanwhile, shareholders of HFC Bank were disappointed after the listed financial services company announced a loss of 32 million Ghana cedis before tax. Addressing shareholders at the annual general meeting in Accra, the managing director of HFC Bank, Robert Leonard Lehant, said the situation is largely blamed on cost of doing business in Ghana. He was, however, confident of better prospect in 2016.
A big part of our loss was the fact that we had provisioning of over 85 million. So in the first quarter, because of that heavy provisioning, our provisioning levels for that first quarter was only 1 million cedis. And as such, those two items really was part of the whole process that drives. So the fact that we continue to get income, we no longer providing as much as we did last year, that is what drove the improved performance. What we are doing to recover, we have in the bank, what we had previously was a very decentralized, not focused recoveries department. One of the things that we have done is to bring all of those recovery units together. We have almost quadrupled the size of people that are now in that particular department. We have now centralized that recoveries department together in one particular area. And we have now properly staffed the department with a very senior member of staff.
So that will be it for business. Coming up next is your sports. My name is John Kojo Amwako. And that'll be all for news today this afternoon on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. My name is Kwabna Chenchainibot. Remember to log on to www.myjoyonline.com for a lot more stories. The marketplace comes up next with John Amwako. Many thanks for your company. Have a great weekend.